Christmas is for family only, my mother's text read. Your sister's in-laws are actual professionals. Lawyers. Executives. We just can't risk you embarrassing us. No smiley. No joke. Just that clinical shame that only parents know how to deliver with a period. I stared at the screen for a moment. My sister's husband, Derek, worked private equity, fast suits, fast opinions, and a jawline you could park a yacht on. His father, Richard Kerrigan, was some financial gatekeeper in Manhattan, the kind of man who thought middle class meant owning only one vacation home. And me? I was the dropout. The screw-up who left med school and wasted the scholarship. The black sheep who built a company they never asked about. I didn't argue. I didn't send a snarky reply. I just texted one word. Okay. Because I had other plans. And they started that Monday when Richard Kerrigan walked into my office, flanked by two executives, for a potential partnership meeting. His eyes scanned the walls, stopped on the framed Fortune cover, then the magazine itself, with my name on it. Then he saw me. I didn't flinch. I just stood up from behind my desk and said, Mr. Kerrigan, welcome to my firm. He turned pale. And then he started screaming. He didn't scream words at first, just the startled, panicked noise of a man realizing he'd walked straight into a room he no longer controlled. Is this a joke? Richard finally barked, eyes darting between me and the magazine cover on the wall behind me, the one with my face under the headline. The quiet architect of the fintech disruption. I kept my voice calm. Not a joke. You requested this meeting. Your firm reached out. Something about expanding digital infrastructure. My assistant just didn't mention the family connection. He turned to his VP, who looked like she wanted to melt into the carpet. But you're, he began, face flushed. The dropout. I offered. The one who wasted potential? I've heard worse. He stepped forward. This is unethical. You should have disclosed. You're in my office, Mr. Kerrigan, I said, folding my hands. I don't owe you full disclosure about my relatives. Especially when those same relatives uninvited me from Christmas, for not being professional enough. Silence. His mouth opened, closed, and I could see it, the gears turning. Not about family. About damage control. I motioned to the boardroom door. We can still talk partnerships, or you can leave. Up to you. He didn't answer, but his assistant pulled out a chair. And I knew. He'd swallow his pride today. Because he couldn't afford not to. The meeting began in stiff silence. Richard didn't speak again for the first 10 minutes. His assistant, Aaron, handled most of the pitch, graphs, projections, buzzwords. I nodded politely like none of this was personal. But it was. Because I remembered exactly how it felt to be erased from my own family tree. Last year, Mom sent me a group photo from Christmas dinner, 10 people at the table, wine glasses raised, matching sweaters. I wasn't in it. And no one noticed. Now, the man whose approval they all scrambled for was pitching me like I was his last lifeline. Your fintech infrastructure, Aaron said, could streamline their global logistics arm. We're talking a 17% overhead reduction in Q1 alone. Richard finally spoke. So what do you want? HM? A public apology? Money? To humiliate me in front of my team? I looked him in the eye. I want your best offer. And full disclosure on your legacy accounts. We both know the real numbers aren't in that pitch deck. He narrowed his eyes. I leaned forward. Or I walk. And you can tell your shareholders how you lost the top platform in the industry because of a grudge. He froze. Then slowly he nodded. He finally understood something my family never did. I didn't need revenge. I had leverage. The deal went through. Not out of goodwill, but necessity. Richard's firm had been bleeding in the background, hiding numbers under corporate jargon and strategic ambiguity. I knew it. He knew it. That's why he stayed in the room. By Thursday, our legal teams were in contact. By Friday, I had full control of back-end infrastructure for 3 of their largest subsidiaries. Not bad for the family disappointment. I didn't gloat. Instead, I prepared a small gift. That weekend, I drove to my parents' house, uninvited, with a thin wrapped box. Mom opened the door, her smile faltering when she saw me. Dad didn't come out. Just wanted to drop this off, I said, handing her the package. What is it? A copy of Fortune. The issue your guest ignored when I made the cover. Page 26 is my favorite. She didn't open it. Didn't invite me in. Just nodded stiffly and closed the door. I stood there a moment, remembering every time they told me I wasn't enough. Not polished, not professional, not their version of success. And now, the man they excluded me for, was working for me. Not metaphorically. Literally. Next month, Richard Kerrigan would report to my COO. And Mom would still pretend I didn't belong at her table. That's okay. Because I was building my own. And theirs was already wobbling. 2 weeks later, Richard Kerrigan walked into my building again, this time wearing a tighter smile, an ironed suit, and a silence that practically begged for dignity. He was now part of a team reporting through my firm's enterprise pipeline division. Not exactly what my mother imagined when she said I wasn't professional enough. His company's onboarding package? Prepared by my operations manager. And sent out with my name at the top of every page. No one in my family knew. Not yet. Until last Friday. My sister posted a brunch photo, mimosas, manicured hands, her caption dripping with pride. So lucky to call the Kerrigans family. One of her friends replied underneath. Isn't Richard working with Miles now? Saw his company on your brother's LinkedIn. The comment sat there for hours before it was deleted. But it didn't matter. The thread had started. By Sunday night, my sister texted. Wait, why didn't you tell me? Did you seriously acquire their back end? I replied with a single line. Mom said not to embarrass anyone. She didn't respond. Because what was she going to say? That I had made them look bad? No. I had simply let the truth breathe. And now my name was floating through the one circle I'd always been kept out of. And I wasn't even done yet. Because the next person I planned to meet was the one who started all of this. The person who started all of this wasn't Richard. It wasn't my sister either. It was Mom. She wrote the script. Every birthday missed, every dinner skipped, every cold silence disguised as tough love. She taught me that success only counted if it looked a certain way, pressed shirt, name brand school, country club smile. I'd always imagined that one day she'd see me, really see me, and realize she was wrong. But she didn't. So I scheduled the meeting myself. I called her favorite cafe. Reserved the back corner where she used to take my sister for girls-only brunches. She walked in 15 minutes late, sunglasses on indoors like always. Sat down across from me with a forced smile. I heard you're working with the Kerrigans, she said. Your sister's confused. I nodded. I figured. What exactly are you trying to prove, Miles? That I was never the embarrassment, I said. You just couldn't recognize a different kind of success. She blinked. This is about ego? No. This is about boundaries. I slid a white envelope across the table. She hesitated. What's this? My final Christmas RSVP. It's a no. Permanently. And a list of donations made in the family's name, to programs for kids who get shut out by the people who are supposed to love them. She opened it. Didn't speak. I stood. For what it's worth, I said, I hope you enjoy the holiday. And this time I walked away first. That December was the first time in my life I spent the holidays exactly how I wanted. Quietly, intentionally, far away from the performance. No forced smiles. No fake traditions. No sitting at a table where I'd already been erased. I hosted a small dinner at my place. A few friends. My team. People who didn't know me as the failure son, or the dropout uncle. Just Miles, the guy who built something from nothing and didn't need to apologize for it. We toasted with good wine. Laughed too loud. Meanwhile back home, my sister's husband had been asked to step away from the Kerrigan Investment Fund due to conflicts of interest. Turns out, when your father works under your wife's estranged brother, investors get nervous. I didn't orchestrate it. I didn't need to. I just let the truth breathe. The ripple effects worked on their own. Mom's social circle got quiet. Her name no longer floated around those charity brunches like it used to. She wasn't connected anymore. And for once I wasn't the one shut out. I had become the door they never saw coming, the one they locked me out of, and now couldn't open back up. But I still had one final move left. One that didn't require money, status, or control. Just clarity. The final move wasn't about power or payback. It was about peace. I spent January decluttering. Not just my apartment, but my life. I unsubscribed from the family group chat. Deleted every holiday photo that included me awkwardly smiling from the corner. And I stopped waiting for validation from people who only valued me when I fit their mold. One quiet Thursday afternoon, a letter arrived. Handwritten. From my father. I didn't know how much we hurt you. I don't expect forgiveness. But I'm sorry. It was the first thing he'd ever written to me that didn't include expectations or advice. I didn't reply. Some things don't need a response. Some things are just acknowledged. Weeks later, Richard Kerrigan's firm announced a rebrand, a quiet attempt to distance itself from a scandal it still refused to name. The irony? My team helped coordinate the launch. Efficient, professional, polite. No one raised their voice this time. They couldn't afford to. I visited the cafe again. Sat in the same corner where I handed my mother that envelope. I brought my laptop, ordered coffee, and opened a blank document. A new venture was calling. Different industry. Bigger vision. And this time no one could say I didn't belong. Because I wasn't looking for a seat at their table anymore. I'd already built my own. And they couldn't sit with me now, even if they begged. Even if they